When you're working as a freelancer, dealing with expenses is something that you really have to think about all of the time, because it's one of the main important key features of every business, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hey designer, Alex here, welcome to the channel. And dealing with expenses is something that you have to do on a daily basis anyway, but when you're running your own business, it's extremely important that you realize what are your main expenses and what are your side expenses which are not really necessary. That way you can understand what can you cut as an expense if the business doesn't go so well, if you're in a time of crisis, if the period of the year is not that well. For example, people are going to vacations. Also, if you're paying other designers to work with you in your team, it's really important to understand their expenses and what are you paying to them, how often do you pay them and how much do you pay them, so that you can really understand what expenses can you cut. Your main expenses as a designer usually are electricity, internet, software that you're using to run your design business. So all you have to do is really be honest with yourself, use a piece of paper, and then on that piece of paper write down all of your expenses, but once again be completely honest and transparent with yourself. Use all of those business expenses and compare them with your life expenses, add them all up, and those are your overall expenses. Then use the money that you made from your business and divide those expenses, and then what you are left with is the profit that you have after obviously paying taxes in your country. So that way you're going to understand how much money you are actually making and how much money you are actually putting on the side, so that you can use to invest in your life and in your business. My top tip here is all non-essential expenses that you can cut, make sure to cut before it's too late, because they are going to eat in your profit. They are going to basically destroy your bottom line. So basically all of your non-essential subscriptions, for example, for services like Netflix, that you can cut, maybe you should cut now before it's too late and they eat into your expenses way too much. Also for the software you're using occasionally, maybe you're paying for that subscription as well. Maybe you should consider something like a software package where you have all of your software necessities inside one single package, so that you can use that package instead of separate software and paying for different licenses. So all of those expenses can really add up at the end of the year, and they can really affect your bottom line. So it's really important to understand what are your true expenses and what are you doing to cut those expenses down, so that you can increase your profit and increase your operational ability as a designer on the market, especially in today's market where it's really uncertain what is going to happen next week, let alone next month or next year. So just think about your expenses. Once again, it's really important here to be honest with yourself and to really understand what are your true expenses and to put them down on a piece of paper. Once again, you don't need any expensive and fancy software. All you have to do is really use any piece of paper, any pen, and just be honest with yourself and put all of those expenses down. I really recommend that you are writing your expenses. You can, for example, create a Photoshop document, and inside of it you can place your monthly expenses. For example, if you have a rent, if you have a tax to pay, if you have a subscription to pay. So any of those expenses you can put down in that Photoshop file, for example, or you can use any software for that matter. And then at the end of the month, make sure to divide all of those expenses and to see how you are doing. So what you can cut for next month, next 3 or 6 months, or even next year, so that you can reduce those unnecessary expenses and you can keep your business going. Thank you for watching the video. I really hope you found some value in it. If you did, make sure to press that like button. I upload new videos every single week on design, passive income techniques, freelancing and more. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.